Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are honored to have Dr. Shabana Parvez joining us here, the founder of Arlington Integrative Medical Center, based out of beautiful Arlington, Texas. She's here to talk more about whole health and, of course, the holistic approach to health and wellness and all that she's doing to help her patients and clients, of course, be better, feel better. Welcome to the show today, Dr. Parvez. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Jill?
I'm fantastic. Pleasure to have you here. I know it's a little early there in Texas. We're based out of New York. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're listening or watching from. Please tell us a little bit about your practice.
Okay. Well, at Arlington Integrative Medical Center, the main focus is really we treat the whole person. And so we are not about just looking at blood tests and x-rays and saying, oh, you have a diagnosis or you don't, or if your blood is normal. Well, we really treat the body, mind, soul, and spirit. And there are a few principles that we really stick to. And one is that, the body can heal itself. That's very, very important for us. The body can heal itself. We are built that way, we're designed that way, and we try to unlock that innate healing power. So whether it's vitamins, ozone therapies, massage, improving the circulation, red light, whatever we do, we are trying to unlock the body's natural healing power. And the other thing is, we know that it's individualized, a personalized approach. So we all have different body types, different temperaments. I try to assess the person's temperament and then try to prescribe, the right kind of diet or lifestyle changes for them. So lifestyle change is a very big issue for us. And another principle that we do is non-pharmaceutical as much as possible. So we try to do the least harm, less invasive, non-pharmaceutical.
Non-toxic, yep.
Non-toxic.
Reading that.
Right? And so that's one of our principles. We really believe like nature is the best teacher and nature is the best healer.
Beautiful.
And once you find out your own nature, like what you are, whether it's your spiritual essence and the way where our bodies are made, and our body types, or even DNA testing, we do that too, to really find out what is going to be best for an individual person.
Beautiful. And we're going to dive into, specifically all the services that you offer by treating the mind, body, soul, and spirit as well. But I first want to back up a little bit and find out more about you. Where are you from? And tell us a little bit about your background and how you not only became a doctor, but then came down this holistic path. So I know it's a lot of questions, but just tell me about yourself to start. Where are you from?
Okay. Well, I was born in India, but I really haven't lived there since I was like 4, I guess. And I grew up in the Caribbean for a little bit.
Wow.
That was fun. And then really, I have pretty much just moved in pursuit of education and career. My parents both worked, and they both worked very hard to, raise us and to send us to school. And they worked 2 or 3 jobs. So, I learned the value of education.
And you were you wanted to be a whole, a doctor, a firefighter.
I wanted to be everything,
do everything.
Actress,
You
a
got great work
firefighter,
ethic from your parents,
scientist,
for sure. Yes.
everything. But I started, and I tried to do other things besides medicine because I thought, well, it takes too long to study that. And I really didn't like computer engineering or anything else that I tried to do. I came back to medicine and healing. I just feel like I've always been born with some sort of innate ability to be a healer. And so I, even as young as 6 years old, putting Band-Aids on people, being the little brownie girl guide, running when somebody in my class fainted. I mean, just like I'm usually kind of rushing if something happens, even when I'm traveling, somebody falls down or something, I'm there to kind of like, are you okay? What can I do to help? That's just part of the way I am, I guess. So I went to medical school in McGill University, Canada. I did my undergraduate from upstate New York in Binghamton. So, I went to medical school in McGill, and then I did a surgical residency for a few years in Detroit, and then I did family medicine in Arizona and Tucson, and then after working for a while, I went back to school and did emergency medicine residency, and I've been worked as an emergency doctor for a while. So I've had a varied career in all different aspects. So having the technical background, having the knowledge, I try to be as like educated as possible on as many different things. So that's kind of where, after seeing how honestly our healthcare system has failed a lot of us, right? And this is why, and even having my own health issues that were like strange diagnosis, nothing really. And it actually worked out that I had to go back to kind of a holistic and natural way of looking at it and, getting my health better. I realized my eyes opened up to like, there's a whole world out there that we're like suppressing. It's kind of like it's ancient wisdom that's been passed down and we've forgotten about it. And we're overdoing the modern technology, and we've gotten away from some of our roots. So I'm trying to bring that back again, ancient wisdom, combine it with modern technology, and give the best personalized care. So, I opened my clinic because I saw the lack of, I saw the need and the lack of, like in the emergency room as a physician, I see all the end results of how the healthcare system is filled. So people are having heart attacks and strokes, and, a car
Yeah.
accident is something different. But I mean, when you have chronic illness that is, just like we shouldn't be having this chronic illness. It's a lifestyle illness. So when I realized that we're not addressing that in the healthcare system, insurance doesn't pay for those things, unfortunately. And so, I wanted to, once I realized how it worked on me and other people, I wanted to bring more of that to the world.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing all this. And you mentioned you had some obstacles in your life as well and some
Yes, yes.
scares. Do you mind
Yeah,
sharing them?
I had a few health scares. I mean, of course, I've had some life challenges, going through a divorce, I had some strange medical issues, which actually worked out to be not really anything, but it was almost like every time I had those unexplained illnesses, it was actually my body kind of telling me, you need to change course, and I learned to listen to my body and change my habits, my lifestyles because of that, and it's like, I had, yeah, I had those obstacles, obviously financial obstacles. We all have some issues with that often. And, like having to move several times and, be on my own for a bit. It's interesting. It hasn't been it hasn't been really insurmountable at all. I mean, it's really, but yeah, it definitely my health and like having sudden changes, unexpected changes, and my career almost being derailed. Like my career as a surgeon was derailed because I had this
Wow.
weird thing, But anyway, you always learn to adjust and adapt
Yeah.
and go with the flow and realize that sometimes it's destiny, right? Like you're meant to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
The path that is made for you will open. So I have
Amazing.
that.
And could you share a little bit about your family life? I was reading a little bit about
Oh,
your
my
son.
kid. Yeah, my
Yeah, how
son
many
is,
kids do you have?
I have two kids. I have two kids,
Okay.
and they're great. They're really great support. My son is in chiropractic school. So,
Okay.
and he wants to do like performance and sports medicine and athletic performance and that kind
Wow.
of stuff. And maybe he still says he wants to go to medical school. And then my daughter, she is she's going to be a junior in college starting, this month. And
Mm-hmm.
she's interested in like biology or pre-med kind of thing. I think she says she maybe wants to be a radiologist or something. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, amazing. Well, thank you for sharing this. And let's talk now more about, this work that you're doing and the website, arlingtonintegrative.com. Is there a phone number you want to share or
Yeah.
any social media page? Thank you.
Yeah. So my social media would be at Dr.
Mm-hmm.
underscore Shabana, Shabana underscore Parvez. So that's Instagram. And then at Arlington Integrative is Facebook. Our website is, like you said, www.arlingtonintegrative.com. And our phone number is 817-538-5439. And we do have an autoresponder CRM. So, it automatically texts. You can call anytime and there'll be a text message. You can leave a voicemail or, follow the menu.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. All right. Well, blending modern and traditional medicine to revitalize your health, as you say. So, do you want to talk? I mean, there's a lot to your programs, the holistic coaching, the detoxification. There's so many services. So, let me just ask you, where did you want to start about you as a doctor and, your initial visit with listening to that patient because you do take the time to do that, right?
Right. And that's the other thing that we don't, most doctors who are in the traditional system don't have
Mm-hmm.
time, and they're 5-10 minutes. So my initial visit is usually about an hour long. And I usually have people fill out some information so I can do more of an extensive health history on them, and if they look at labs and supplements, but really just to listen. That's one thing people don't get a lot of times, the doctors to just listen. And I often get patients that have been to many doctors and nobody can find anything because again, those doctors are focused on just diagnosis or lab tests, but they come and they know they're not feeling well. So they come and they get I get to listen to them. I kind of do an analysis of their body type, look at their tongue, their pulse. I can also do a lot of this virtually with consultations. Yeah, and then after that, we can create a program based on what their needs are. And then I can do more research usually afterwards to know. At the first visit, we kind of see if we're a good fit. Do they like me? Do I like them? Do I feel like I can help them? And then after that, more research into specifically what they're going to need. And we have some virtual as well as in-person treatments.
Thank you for this. And you mentioned you're doing the least harm to the body. You're using non-pharmaceutical, non-toxic methods, and you're treating patients like family. And
Yes.
tell us more about how the body heals itself. And then I want to break down some of the things that you're helping people with specifically. Would love to hear some of those stories.
So how the body heals itself is, of course, this is kind of how we're divinely designed, and we really are like spiritual beings in a physical body. We are having an earthly existence. And so the body heals itself. We have, just like you see every day, if you get a little scrape or a paper cut, it's going to heal, it's going to clot, it's going to heal. I mean, you don't do anything to it, right? You don't have to give it a prescription or tell it to. And that's how we're made. And just like that, if you look at again, nature, I love nature as a teacher. If you look at the example of a plant, if you have a tree, or say you're growing tomatoes in your yard and the tomatoes aren't coming out good, or they're like wrinkly or whatever, are you going to like inject, into, collagen to the tomatoes, paint them red and say, here is a nice, beautiful, juicy tomato? Or are you going to say, oh, do I have enough water? Is the soil good? Do I need fertilizer? Is the sunlight good? So just like that, we are like, one of the first things to do is a nutrition. What's nutrition? What's your sleep? What's your hydration? And some of those things, some of the treatments are actually the simplest things can have the most profound effect. So we start with that. There are like 6 main factors of health that I look at, your food, your nutrition, your detoxification, sleep, activity, mental, social, psychological issues, spiritual. So we kind of look at the whole, all of that. And so, so nutrition is part of it, but it's part of a big picture.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And as I peruse the website, there's so many people that you're helping. And just to let you know, this is out of pocket. It's not covered by insurance, right?
Right.
But, I just want to read one or two if you don't mind.
Sure.
Dr. Parvez says, someone named Jamie says, has been so helpful in so many ways. She has educated me tremendously about my health. I came to her overweight and pre-diabetic without knowing. Now I feel good and proud of the achievements I've done. No turning back. Thank you, doctor. Then someone by the name of Paul says, Dr. Parvez and Nurse Laura are the best. They have cured both of my torn rotator cuffs, my neck when I was injured, and got me through 2 bouts of COVID. I get monthly IV treatments with them, and my health has been outstanding ever since. Someone else here mentioned you. This is PETA. Dr. Parvez and Laura have been wonderful. You can feel they really care about your overall health and comfort. I've been a weekly patient at Arlington location for several months. I feel so much better. I have people ask me what I'm doing because my appearance has improved as well. So, I mean, there's so much great to what you're doing, and I would love to hear more.
Yeah, well, I've been able to keep people out of the hospital during COVID. We did, our IV treatments with the vitamins and all that, and even with oxygen and everything, I was able to keep people out of the hospital, treat their COVID safely. The other things I've done are I do have some cancer patients, which I, give alternate treatments to, in addition to their chemo. It helps them go through their chemo, whether do chemo, radiation, surgery, or nothing, which completely is their choice. We have high dose IV vitamin C and ozone IVs, and that's really helped a lot with turning around, even decreasing the markers in the blood and improving their energy. I had a patient recently who had an incredible turnaround, and she couldn't believe it. And even her, the technicians who were doing her x-rays couldn't believe. She came looking like she needed to be hospitalized. She had a fever, her stomach hurt. She just looked really terrible and weak, and her abdomen was bloated. Turned out I did blood work on her and everything, and her labs are way off. Her liver was full of cysts, was enlarged, looked like she maybe had an infection or perforation. I treated her in my clinic with several of the IV treatments and everything, and castor oil packs, etc. Within a couple of weeks, her blood work all came completely normal. She was so much better. And then we did maintenance treatments. When she went back for her follow-up ultrasound, the technician couldn't believe it. She said, how is your liver half the size it was? What did you do? Because normally she would have gone to the hospital, had multiple rounds of IV antibiotics, maybe had surgery, more invasive things. And antibiotics then decrease your gut health. Anyway, so she had no antibiotics. She had all my treatments, and they couldn't believe the size of her liver. Everything, got better. Her labs got better. So there are many stories like that where really help, especially losing weight. That's one thing I wish people knew too, not just about losing weight, but that lifestyle change is almost nothing that you cannot treat with lifestyle change. Like 90% of all chronic issues, autoimmune disease, pain, inflammation of every sort, diabetes can be reversed. And that's kind of one of my,
Really?
yes, diabetes can be reversed, blood pressure, cholesterol. So you don't have to be a slave to prescription medicines. That's the thing. We don't have to do that. There are ways and you actually, when you treat like the reason behind the diabetes or the reason behind the blood pressure, then everything gets better. And we try to focus on not, like I said, treating the branches or like the, outside. We're trying to treat the trunk and the roots. So, first make sure the water, the fertilizer, all is that good. So is your nutrition good? All these things. When you treat the root cause of whatever, you can actually treat multiple diseases. Because people ask me, well, do you treat thyroid? Do you do hormones? Do you do this? Well, yes, we do all of it, but we don't start with, we're treating thyroid, and we start out here in the corner, at the periphery. We go, okay, why is your thyroid off? Because we're all a whole system, multiple systems working together. So let's get the foundations first, and then we can fine tune. So that's kind of the general approach.
Wow. Well, this is amazing because that's it. A lot of doctors, regular doctors, right? They treat the symptoms, not the root cause. And
Mhm.
clearly that's what you're getting to here, which makes a lot of sense, right?
Mhm.
And let me ask though, how did you discover this holistic way of health? And, so as a doctor, what made you make that switch, right? Because I'm sure in medical school you learned medicine, right? And
Right, right.
how did you, get to this integrative side?
Yeah. So I was, like I said, I was very, very busy, pursuing my career, emergency physician. I was in charge of a bunch of committees, and I was just really, very high performing, driven, working very hard. And I thought generally eating healthy, but I ended up with all of a sudden, it's like my body decided to shut down, whatever happened, whether you call it adrenal fatigue or whatever. I really couldn't
Oh,
move very
wow.
much. I couldn't walk. Everything was numb and tingly. And it was kind of like a wake up call.
Yeah.
And with rheumatologists and all these specialists and MRIs and really nothing major, and even resting at home didn't help, or vacation didn't really help. But then I had hijama, which is an ancient system of wet cupping.
Oh,
Hijama.
okay.
It's been actually
Never
part
heard
of
of that.
Islamic
Okay.
Islamic therapy, tradition and Ayurvedic and Chinese tradition, but it's wet cupping. So you put cups on, and then there actually draws out some blood. There's a little incision, some blood comes out. It's almost like a detox. And that was the only thing that actually helped me. Then my eyes got open to what is this, and then learning more about that and going to like the Greek Arab medicine. And then I actually went to train in that in the UK, learning about this whole system of body types. I realized that even though I thought I was eating healthy, those quote unquote healthy foods weren't good for my body type. When I applied all those principles, I lost 35 pounds, just no dieting, no exercise, no gym even. I mean, it was just like really decreasing inflammation in my body. And so the light
Wow,
got
that's
turned on saying,
amazing.
this is not that difficult. Why are we all suffering? There's so many, people are just been given the same standard prescription. You need to know your body type. You need to know that there's a lot of other ways to heal. And it doesn't have to be toxic. And it doesn't have to be complicated either. So anyway, it was when I had my own health crisis, I realized, oh, wait a minute. There's there's a lot of people that could benefit from this. So yeah.
Goodness. Well, thank you for sharing all this. I mean, and we're talking even like the cupping therapy you do, the IV nutrition, full body detox. What did you want to talk about next? There's so much
Well, I want
to
to talk about like spiritual healing, which is another
Sure.
one thing, because there's a lot of issues with mental health, and not just mental health, but I really do believe that one of the missing links, because that's what I try to find, what are all the missing links to why this person is not healing or getting better, right? And one of the things we hold on to, negative energy, toxins, toxics from relationships, past traumas, and we've all been through trauma in some way or another. But, the energetic imprint it leaves in the body can be, really long lasting, and it actually can lead to physical disease. So energy can manifest as physical disease. And sometimes, even though you've treated the outside, until you get to that root cause, the spiritual root cause or the energetic root cause of the illness, you may not get true and full healing. And I realize that I'm actually training in this as well as a spiritual practitioner, but sounds are also very healing. So I'm doing this, I've actually trademarked this called Fresh. It's called Fully Returning to Your Essence, Sacred Sound Healing. Sound, the vibration of sound is very healing. We know that sounds in water, for example, the Japanese researcher did this, sounds in water Like if you recite the Quran or some beautiful sounds into water and you crystallize it, it becomes this beautiful, beautiful snowflake. And then if you just like, if you curse at it, I mean, it's just these disorganized sheets. We know about structured water now too. Our bodies are more than 70% water. Sound travels faster through water. You know, our cells need hydration, but the sound even can, sacred sounds, divine sounds can actually heal and get to the level of the DNA. So this is a, you know, we've had a lot of people get major breakthroughs in terms of understanding why they're not healing, and a lot of it has to do with the disconnect between our purpose here on Earth, our spirit, not understanding the essence of who we are, how to connect with our Creator. And that disconnect in society, in modern society especially, is really responsible for a lot of discomfort, disease, being unwell, you know, bad interpersonal dynamics, because then it spreads, right? If you heal some person and they're more emotionally sound and spiritually sound and strong, then they're better to other people too. And though it's a ripple effect. And if somebody is unwell, you know, psychologically, mentally, emotionally, not resilient, then that also causes other people, because they may not interact in the best way. And then that hurts somebody else. And that ripple effect is also bad, right? So it's like by healing the whole person and bringing them back to their essence, I think it's really part of the true complete healing.
Got it. Amazing. This is amazing, this work that you're doing. And by the way, I just want to point out, you're in Arlington. Is there any, I know you do a lot of virtual work as well. Is there
Yes.
any out of state restriction? Is it just Texas you're allowed to work in? Could you
No,
just
no.
share that for us?
Yeah, I can work virtually anywhere in the world, because with obviously with the sound healing and all that, it's not considered like medicine practice. So I can treat anybody anywhere in the world with that. And even the counseling, because then it really becomes more of me coaching and counseling and guiding, especially with the nutrition and the holistic. So that even the body types, all of that is not really considered medical practice. It would be more health and holistic, and I can do that virtually. And I do have programs that I administer virtually anywhere in the country or the world. Peak performance program for those like people who are executives and, you know, busy and stressed, diabetic, blood pressure, overweight, and I can really help them take away the stress of learning how to really get better, turn that around. And my reset program, which is
Aw.
virtually, helps people reset their metabolism. Again, they can lose weight, get off of medicine, get off of diabetic blood pressure medicine, lose 20, 30
Yeah.
pounds without using Ozempic or any kind of stimulant like that. It's all very natural and very supportive. And
Wow.
you know, in person, I do have treatments like the radio microneedling, RF microneedling with the Potenza. I think Kim Kardashian was talking about that a lot. She was
Was
really,
that, they call it the vampire facial? Is that what
yeah,
that is, Doc?
exactly
Yep.
like that. Yeah, but it's the one that's, yeah, and it really helps to, like, again, it body heals itself. I'm not injecting anything into it. It's really, the body makes your own collagen. You just have to stimulate it. Even in person, we do the ozone and the IVs. It's all about giving the body what it needs to heal. And the ozone stimulates a little bit of a reaction that then helps your body improve antioxidants. And we have the injections for pain, you know, like really can help even avoid people having to have surgery for their joints and all that, because ozone helps heal all of that. So it's amazing the kinds of things we've been able to do. It's just, I wish more people would know about it so we can help more people.
Yeah, and then I was also reading there's the this vitamin C and
Mhm.
NAD, IV
Mhm.
nutrients. What's
Yes.
all this? My goodness.
Yeah, vitamin C is, you know, of course, a really good at high doses,
Yeah.
it's a pro-oxidant, at low doses, an antioxidant, but it's really important again in every cell of your body. It helps your collagen, it helps your immunity. It almost can act as an antibiotic by itself, depending on how it's used. NAD is another, again, it's a form of vitamin B that's in all our cells, and it's important for like your energy, where your mitochondria make ATP near the final step. So it really goes into every single cell of the body. And interesting, NAD has been studied for addiction. Okay, IV
Wow.
infusions of NAD have helped alcoholics and opioid users with overcoming addiction, because it almost like rewires the nervous system. A lot of the illnesses that we see are often nutritional deficiencies in one way or another. Either you're not getting it properly in your body, you're not eating the right diet, or we have toxins that are leaching it out of our body, you know, and also, or our guts are not working. So we're not even absorbing properly, right? So a lot of these things can be, and nutritional therapy helps a lot of illnesses, and helps your body have the tools it needs to heal itself as well, you know.
Again, to get started, the 2 lifestyle programs, again, that you mentioned, virtually in person, the Peak Performance Program
Right.
for the busy stress physician, and the Total Body Reset Program. And this
Right.
is great stuff that you offer. So many people can help. You can help with this. And unfortunately, we're just about out of time. We have 2 minutes left. So how did you want to kind of end off today for our first show? And I hope we get to speak again because there's so
Yeah.
much more that you have to offer.
Yeah, I think one of the things is just really to know that do not reduce yourself. If I've help tell people, don't reduce yourself to just, a lab test and an X-ray. Don't give away your power to make decisions about your health, right? And know that you have the power to heal your body, and know that, you really don't neglect your whole self. Don't neglect your spirit, don't neglect your soul, don't neglect that part of it. Connect with nature is one of the things I would say. Connect with nature, connect with the essence. Try to find, if you're in discomfort, find out if you really are taking that time to ground, to connect, breathe, and of course, just be
Aw,
grateful for everything.
thank you. And Doctor, remind us how we can reach out to you again.
At www.arlingtonintegrative.com or call 817-538-5439. And then that's the best way to get started.
Great. Thank you so much. Pleasure having you here, getting to know you, and hopefully we connect again next week.
Yeah, thank you so much, Elle. Take care.
Thank you, and have a fantastic day. And to all of our listeners, we'll be right back. Thank you.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.